Hey everyone, it's Keith here, and today we're taking a look at the Sidekick, made by Alpaka and in collaboration with Sttoke. Quick disclaimer, they sent me this bag to review, and I get to keep it afterwards. All thoughts shared in this video are my own, and they have not previewed this video before its release. With that out of the way, let's get into the review. The team at Sttoke sent me their limited launch bundle, which includes the Sidekick sling itself, an Alpaka and Sttoke branded ceramic cup, a delta press, and a Hari grinder. They didn't send me the Hari grinder because I already had my own grinder and I didn't need a second one. For today's video, we're only focusing on the sling itself as a coffee and carry enthusiast. Later in the video, I'll showcase a coffee setup as well as a text setup. For now, let's go over some of the features that I found interesting and useful. The Sidekick is a bag that comes with a detachable strap and can be carried in 3 different modes: briefcase, messenger, and sling. The strap has a thick shoulder pad with an interesting pattern, and it has a Maglocks magnetic buckle for quick detach. The strap attaches to 2 of the 4 attachment loops on the back side of the sling. This bag is made from a 500D Koja fabric, which is waterproof, and the zips are AquaGuard zips. So if there's any rain, this bag should keep your gear safe and dry. On the front side of the bag, there's a zippered compartment, which can carry up to a 10.9-inch iPad. Inside the bag, there are 3 elastic pockets, as well as a zippered compartment. On the other side, in the main compartment, they come with these Velcro dividers for you to organize your gear. If you've used a camera bag before, the concept is the same. One interesting thing about these Velcro dividers is that there's a piece of metal or cardboard inside. It makes it really stiff and rigid, whereas the ones you find in camera bags are usually a thick layer of foam. The case itself doesn't have much structure to it. However, adding these dividers add a lot more structure and help keeps its shape. With the overview out of the way, let's go over my coffee setup to give you a rough idea of how much coffee gear you can carry. On the outside zipper compartment, I have a tea towel and a cleaning cloth just in case I make a mess when I make coffee. In the main compartment, I have an AeroPress, Timewell C2 grinder, a Basil scale, a Sttoke cup, and a small bag of coffee beans. There's an empty space here at the moment, but that's where I would put my AeroPress filters once I get a filter case. On the other side, I don't have anything stored in the zippered compartment. In this slot, I have my AeroPress filters. In the next one, I have a journal and a pen to take any notes on recipes. I don't use this very often, but it's here just in case. In the last slot, I have my AeroPress stirrer and the cleaning brush for my grinder. Hopefully, that gives you a rough idea of how much coffee gear you can carry. If you have any other branded grinders like a Hari or Comandante, these fit in here no problem. However, if you have a larger scale, like a Hari dripper scale, you might need to lay it flat in this compartment or in one of these sleeves or even in the zippered compartment. For those wondering if it fits a V60, it does. However, the V60 sits slightly taller than this compartment, so it might take up some of the space in the lid. Besides carrying coffee gear, you can use the Sidekick to carry tech gear or camera gear. I don't use this sling to carry tech gear, but here's an example of how much gear you can fit in it. In the outer zippered compartment, I have an iPad mini with a bit of empty space left. On the inside, I have a Fujifilm X-T2 with a 35mm lens, a 56mm lens, 2 Sony NPF batteries, a pair of Beats headphones, a small pouch for my power bank. In the zippered compartment, I have a large notepad. In these sleeves, I have a USB-C cable, an Alpaka zip wallet for SD cards and batteries, and in the last slot, I have a SSD. I hope that example gave you a rough idea of how much tech gear you can carry. If you're planning on using this as a tech sling, I recommend that you measure the interior space to make sure your gear fits. I've been testing the Sidekick for a month now, and I've primarily used it as a briefcase to carry my coffee gear. I usually leave this in the car when I travel between my home and the studio. Briefcase mode works really well for me. However, there are a few things I'd like to see in this case. The first thing I'd like to see is a strap that holds the lid when it's half opened. I'm not a fan of having the lid open all the way because any loose gear in these slots might slide out. For example, my AeroPress stirrer has slid out a few times during testing. Every time I've used this case, I've always looked for something to prop up the lid. I find it a lot easier to access my gear when it's propped up compared to having to lift the lid every time to access these compartments. At the moment, I found that the best way to use the case is to leave the lid closed and only open it when you need something. It's not convenient, but it's better than having the lid flop around with your gear inside and potentially having your gear slide out when it's opened. Besides the issue with the lid, I prefer using the Sidekick as a briefcase because of this strap. During my testing, I ran into a few problems when carrying in Sling Mode and Messenger Mode. I think these issues have to do with my height and my small frame. For reference, I'm 165 centimeters tall, and I think if you're taller, you probably won't run into these issues. For Messenger Mode, I attached the strap onto the loops along the same side. The shoulder pad is really wide and tends to slip off my shoulder. The attachment points create a gap, and the bag doesn't hug the side of my body. In Sling Mode, I attach the strap on opposite corners, and the shoulder pad acts more like a chest pad. Even though I've shortened the strap to fit me properly, the bottom corner of the sling digs into my lower back, and it's not very comfortable. During my testing, I also tried out the strap from the Alpaka phone sling, and I had the same results. After trying different sling setups, this is the best configuration that worked for me. I attached the strap along the same side for Messenger Mode, but carried it as a sling across the body. It's better, but still not very comfortable with the weight shifted to one side. In the end, the strap didn't work for me, and I ditched it to use the bag as a briefcase. Here are my overall thoughts on the Sidekick. Even though the strap didn't work for me, I love the overall concept and flexibility of converting this travel case into a sling. In my day-to-day use, the briefcase mode works better for me. If I'm taking this case with me, I'll most likely be carrying other gear with me, such as a laptop, a sling, or a backpack. I'd rather carry a backpack or sling over my shoulder and carry this briefcase in my hand. Another carrier solution I came up with is to throw this case into a backpack like this Arc Date Pack. That way I can carry my coffee gear as well as a laptop. It's a bit of a crazy solution, but it works for me. I think the Sidekick is great for any coffee lovers who travel a lot and like to bring the coffee gear with them, especially if you're camping, road tripping, or even going to an Airbnb. It's really nice having one dedicated bag. The Sidekick might also be good for coffee meetups. I've never been to one, but I imagine having a bag like this would come in very handy. For those who are interested in using the Sidekick as a tech sling, I recommend that you measure the interior space to make sure your gear fits. That wraps up my review of the Sidekick. If you're interested in learning more, I've included links in the description. Also, if you have any questions about this bag, leave a comment below or send me a DM on Instagram. I'll try my best to answer your questions. Big thank you to Alpaka and Sttoke for letting me be part of their launch and for sending me this bag to review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next year.